Hello everybody, I am Ace Cooper. Today I'm back with a brand new video. Today we are ranking another thing of Doctor Who things in a list thing. That went a lot better in my head, I promise. Yeah, so last time we did like series rankings from worst to best. We've done TARDIS interiors, what else have we done? Title sequences, and all that sort of lovely stuff. So if you want to go and check those out, feel free, they're on the channel now. They're pretty fun and exciting and wonderful. But today we're talking about Doctor Who sonic screwdrivers. We're not including all the sonic devices, mainly because there's loads of them, and I feel like knowing what the Doctor Who community is like, if I say, you know, for example, if I include like the laser screwdriver, and someone gets annoyed that I haven't included like Missy's sonic umbrella, there'll be hell on with some people. So I decided to keep it exclusively to Doctor's sonic screwdrivers. There may be a couple missing on the list because it depends on how you look at it, and you know, I kind of like to think there's one or maybe two that's unique to each Doctor, and one of which isn't on the TV show. It is a special mention from the Big Finish audios. You'll know which one I mean when I come to it, but it's a very special one that I really like. It's a sonic screwdriver design that I really want, so that's on there for that reason. But there's no things like, there's nothing like the sonic cane or the sonic umbrella or even the sonic lipstick from Sarah Jane, anything like that. It's all, you know, belonging to the Doctor in the TV show with one minor exception. Anyway, there are 13 on this list. Please don't be offended, it is just my opinion. So if your favourite one is in my last place and, you know, your least favourite is in my first place, don't fret, it's just an opinion. So instead of leaving a sort of dislike or a hateful comment just for disagreeing with me, why don't you just tell me your list in the comments below? I love to see what people think about different sonic screwdriver designs. That's why I make these ranking, listing type videos. So tell me in the comments, what's your list from worst to best? Or just what's your favourite, what's your least favourite, all that sort of thing. So anyway, without any further ado, let's actually get into the video. In 13th place, we have the 5th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. Now, I make it clear, I say this with every listing video, that I love all of them on this list. They've all got their own unique stamp on them, but the thing into the 5th Doctor's sonic screwdriver is, it didn't need to exist. It is literally the same as the 4th Doctor's one, but with a nice little white ring round it. So it was like, how can I put that higher than some of the more unique ones on this list? That's why it's at the bottom. It's a nice design, and it looks good, because obviously the 4th Doctor one is higher up on this list. So I do like the 4th Doctor design, but what was the point in updating it to have a white ring? You know? What was the point? Just to give it it just didn't need to happen. And then obviously it got destroyed, and that's great, because I'm not a big fan of overusing the Sonic, so that's great. But it wasn't in the show for long. You could have just kept the 4th Doctor's one, really, couldn't you? It wouldn't have made too much of a difference, if you know what I mean. Like, it's only very minor design changes. Like, there's a big enough design change between the 3rd Doctors and the 4th Doctors and the 4th Doctors and the 8th Doctors, despite them all looking the same. There are some noticeable differences. But the 5th Doctor's one, it's practically the same as the 4th Doctor's, and there's just no need for it to exist. In 12th place, we have the 6th Doctor's sonic lance. Now, this technically isn't a screwdriver, but it is a tool, a sonic tool, that the 6th Doctor used, and he never used a screwdriver, so the lance is his sort of replacement of that. The lance is interesting, and I do like the sonic lance. It's a bit different, it's a bit of a different type of thing. I think just when you're changing something over from the traditional sonic screwdriver, it would have been nice to see something a bit more adventurous. It is a nice design, but overall, it looks like someone's just painted a TV remote, and it's only got about 3 buttons on it. It's nothing overly complex, it doesn't look very kind of spacey-wacy, it looks like it's been made on a budget, which is a shame. Because when the 3rd Doctor sonic screwdriver, and even the 2nd Doctor sonic screwdriver looks kind of more sophisticated and more of a proper sci-fi type tool, than something that was made like 20 years later, or 10-20 years later, it's a bit depressing at that point, because I think the sonic lance is a very nice design at the end of the day, and I wish they'd released some sort of character options toy of it. I really do wish they would. But it just looks like, you know, a blue television remote, you know, with a thing on the end of it that kind of glows up, and yeah, there's a few lights on it, and I think it was one of the first to incorporate a function that included lights, so that's certainly something new and something pretty good and different. But I think, just looking back on it, it's not like if you know, if they brought that into the show nowadays, it would be a nice callback, but it would just be a bit like, there's, you know, I would prefer to see a sonic screwdriver opposed to that thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a bit different, and I'm glad they changed it up a little bit for that era. But I think looking at actual designs, I can't bring myself to put that higher than any other on this list. In 11th place, we have the 2nd Doctor sonic screwdriver, the one that character options have never made, that they really should, because it's the easiest design to make. It is a pen light. It is a pen light. and that's why it's so far down the list. There's nothing majorly unique to it. But you know what I like about the second Dr. Sonic Screwdriver? First of all, it incorporated the light, you know? The light that would then be picked up for the modern series and used as the main sort of use of a sonic screwdriver, opposed to just like a bullet on a sort of stick, really. I really like this design, mainly because it was so, like, it's the first one, and you can't, like, not have respect for the first one. The first one is great, and it's such a simplistic design. It is just a silver tube with a light at the end. The second Doctor presses a button, and it does stuff. Its original use was to unscrew a screw. It was a screwdriver, and then it did a couple of other things as well, and then they brought it back, of course, with a brand new redesign for the third Doctor era, and then onwards through there. But overall, like, as it stands, it's still like a kind of sleek design that you'd expect to see. I think it's a kind of thing you'd see, like, you know, I think, like, maybe like James Bond or something, like some sort of detonator or something. But it looks like a very bog standard, like, laser pen, sort of pen light, and I just really like that. And I wish Character Options would release a toy of it just to have it in sort of the general collection, because that would just be great. But yeah, I do have a soft spot for this design, but at the same time, like, it's nothing special. It's just a silver tube in it. In 10th place is the 13th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. Now, I do like this one to an extent, but at the end of the day, it's not the nicest of designs. I want the Sonic Screwdriver to look scientific. I want it to look very, very nice and sleek and very kind of discreet in a way. But saying that, don't hold me to that, because I do like them to be discreet, but I also like them to look very extravagant and very sci-fi and very classic sci-fi. I really like that element of it. Whereas this just doesn't really feel like that. I know the intention of this was to give it a bit of a different backstory, you know. I like to see the Doctor make this. It was kind of interesting. It was a bit like sort of the old Star Wars stuff where a Jedi would make their own lightsaber out of like a crystal and like metal parts and all that sort of thing. It was kind of sort of in tune to that, and I really liked the idea of this Doctor creating her own sonic screwdriver. That made sense to me, and it worked, and it looked nice, and it was great. And I love the fact that there's sort of like fluid links down the side which glow up orange, and the crystal on the top. I love the idea of having a crystal as being the thing to operate a sonic screwdriver. It's very clever, it's very unique, it's very different, and it's very much out there. But I think the overall design could have been done a hell of a lot better. I think it is sleek. It's a very nice one to hold and point and mess about with, but there's no way I can even compare it to the classic designs as well as some of the modern designs as well. Like, it just doesn't really fit that kind of sleek, subtle design that I really like about a sonic screwdriver. It goes a bit above and beyond, a bit too far. I do like something a bit out there and a bit quirky, but I think this is a bit too quirky for my liking. Saying that, I do really like it. Obviously, I love the crystal, love the lights down the side, I love the curve in it, I love the fact that it's made out of Sheffield steel. I love all that, but I think just the final combination, I feel like I wish it'd been done a little bit differently, if you know what I mean. I like it, but it's just, I can't even pretend to say that's my favourite. It just doesn't look really the nicest thing in the world. In 9th place, we have the third Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. Kind of not the first one, but the first one, like the first one to bring in this whole bullet in a sort of ring design that we got for the following Doctor Sonic Screwdrivers. What sets this off and what makes it different is the colours. It's got the whole kind of barbershop spiral in the middle of it, the yellow and black spiral I really like. I love the red colouring, I love the black colouring towards the bottom, and I think it is a very, very nice prop. It was a very unique design that, of course, carried on for ages to come in the rest of the show, so I can't knock that. But I think, to me, it works very much in the sense of that it was the 70s, and it was very, very kind of sleek 70s, kind of like a traditional sci-fi. We need to have something that looks a bit wacky and weird and all that sort of thing. I think Doctor Who took itself more seriously in terms of the prop design for Sonic Screwdriver when Tom Baker came in, because it is overall the same design, but what's different? The thing that's different is they took away the spiral effect. They simplified it down, and they just changed it a little bit just to make it more of a silver design, like an actual tool, opposed to something that looks like something that could be made for a kids' TV show or something along those lines. So I do like it, and I think it's a very iconic looking design, but I think although the stripes do work and look great for that era, I think it's probably one of the ones that's less likely to come back into fashion like nowadays. So looking back on it, very, very nice for the time, but certainly can't put it up there as one of my favourites. In 8th place, quite fittingly, is the 8th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver. Yeah, this is another one of those design changes that is not really talked about too much. Like, this is a bit different. So this is taking the 4th Doctor's iconic design. It adds a gold brass type ring towards the bottom. But what's interesting about this is that this isn't the same mechanism. You don't pull it down to activate it. Instead, there's a button for this one, and you use the button to sort of hold. And that kind of brought in this kind of button style of the modern series, where you kind of point and hold it, opposed to having a sort of a function where you kind of pull it down to activate it. Instead, you can pull it down, but you pull down not just the outside layer, but you pull down the whole body, and it will click into place. And I think this is actually on the prop as well. And you can actually flick it up, which is a new mechanism. It's hard to kind of explain, but if you imagine like Matt Smith's Sonic Screwdriver, the way it kind of closes itself and then flicks up, this Sonic does the same, and it adopts that kind of style to the original sort of classic designs of Sonic Screwdrivers, and moulds it into this new kind of style. Unfortunately, the Character Options toy doesn't do that, but the prop and the one in the TV movie especially actually does do this. It does collapse, and you can flick it open and you can use it, and it uses a button. It's not a majorly new design. It's not my favourite of the classic Sonic Screwdrivers, but it's certainly not the worst. It's a very sleek, it's a very nice looking design, similar to that of Tom Baker's. But I think what works really well about this is it tries to do something different. It doesn't just add a silver ring. It adds a brass ring, but also it doesn't have the pull down mechanism. It's a button. It has a click into place and flick function, which worked really well for Matt's Doctor. And I feel like if the TV movie and the American series had actually taken off, we would have seen a lot more of that kind of flicking Sonic Screwdriver action back in those days, before we had to wait to see it in the modern series. And I'm really, really glad they tried to incorporate that early on, and it kind of it's a weird kind of call forward to the future, really, if you think about it, and I really do like that element of it. In 7th place is River Song's Sonic Screwdriver from the Silence in the Library Forest of the Dead. I did realise that I did say before that it was just the Doctor's Sonic Screwdrivers, but this is technically the Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver that he gave to her in the future, so technically it does count to an extent. It showed up in 3 different episodes now in Doctor Who history, and it is a nice design. It's very rustic, it's very old. At the end of the day, what it is an updated version of the Tennant Sonic Screwdriver. Which in terms of story doesn't make too much sense, because this is Capaldi's Doctor giving this Sonic to her. But it's got dampers on the side, it's got a red function. It tries to make it futuristic and different and a bit nicer than what the modern Sonic Screwdriver was. You know, it had a red setting, it had that blue element to it. It has this nice little ring holder on the side, which makes it just a lot more comfortable of a sort of prop, by the looks of it anyway. It looks a lot more sleek, and I think it suits River Song really, really well. In terms of an actual figure, I've got the sort of toy, and it is a very nice toy. It fits very, very nicely alongside the others. But pretty much what it is a alternate version of the Tennant Sonic Screwdriver. That's really all it is. It's just an updated version of that. It's got the same crackle design, but painted grey instead of a sort of corally colour, like a sort of yellowy beige colour. And it's also got the ring holder and other things on the side. So it's kind of a more steampunk version of Tennant Sonic Screwdriver, which, to be honest with you, I honestly don't mind. I quite like that, and I think it's very unique and very different, and, you know, it's a shame that we haven't seen it more on the show, because I would have actually liked to have seen the Doctor use this. It would have been great if we'd seen Capaldi adopt this Sonic Screwdriver for Series 8 instead of using Matt's, and then by the time he meets River Song, you know, he gives this Sonic over as his sort of gift as he moves on to the next Sonic. That would have been a nice way to do it, because that would have made sense. It is his Sonic Screwdriver, he is passing it over, and that would have been nice to see a Doctor actually use this Sonic Screwdriver for like a certain amount of time. But no, alas, we did not see that. But either way, I still really, really like it. In 6th place, we have the War Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. I really like the War Doctor Sonic Screwdriver, and you know why? Because it's both. It's not classic, it's not new, it's both. It takes the full classic mould, cuts off the whole ring at the top, and replaces it with a small light, very, very similar to that of the Trawnend sort of Sonic, which is great. It's a lovely callback to that. And it also adds this cool little red thing on the end, which kind of looks a bit like a fez. I don't know what that's meant to be. But again, it would have been nice to see this explored more in Day of the Doctor. Like, what does his Sonic actually do? Seemingly not much. It is a red light. It's not a red setting. It is just a red Sonic Screwdriver light. It's a very sleek and very basic design that is pretty much identical in every way to the Fourth Doctor's Sonic. And I mean that just absolute. It is pretty much the same thing, just with a little red thing on the end, which I feel like that would be interesting if that was like a bomb detonator or something, you know, like a real war tool. But overall, like, it's a really sleek, usable design that I really, really like. I can definitely see the War Doctor using this. I can never see the Doctor using this. I love the use of the sliding function, but used in the same way of the sort of modern series ones where you sort of point it with the light. I really, really like that, and I think, honestly, I'm a big fan of what they managed to conjure up just for one episode, because realistically it wouldn't have made a difference if he'd kept the 8th Doctor one. But I really, really like they went to the effort of making a different one that, you know, sort of uses both eras, very similar to his TARDIS, to create something new and different. And honestly, I really, really love that design. Just the classic body with the red light on top. It's such a small light as well, but it's a very nice one. It's very unique to the show, and I don't think we'll ever see anything quite like that again. In 5th place is the 8th Doctor Dark Eyes Sonic Screwdriver. Now, this is the one that I was talking about. Hasn't been in the TV show, probably never will, unfortunately, but it is a very unique and brilliant design that I really, really like. If the 8th Doctor ever got brought back in a sort of multi-Doctor special, I'd love them to use this Sonic, because not only would it be very, very nice to see this Sonic return, but to see it on the big screen. And with that possibility happening, that would be like the option of being able to get it as a released toy or like a released prop or something. I really, really love this design. It's a sort of gold bronze type main body with a few wooden bits screwed in, and it's just that by itself is probably the nicest thing about it. Looking at the top function, it's kind of like a X shape that's been carved out of what looks like computer chips and computer plates and bits of gold ramped together with a few other little bits of tech and wires and all that sort of thing that plugs in to a crystal at the top. A crystal that is a bright blue in colour. Now, this design for me just is lovely, and I think I just wish I could have it so I could have a look at it and really analyse every little detail of it, but it's definitely one of my favourites. It looks the nicest out of the lot of them, I think. Well, out of the ones that I've spoke about so far. I love the Sonic having a light. That's one of my main things about the Sonic I really, really like. So this brings that light function to life, really. I love the fact that it's a crystal. You know, I always said that when the 13th Doctor one was kind of shown for the first time, I was like, I'm so glad they've finally kind of brought in a crystal similar to that of the Dark Eyes Sonic. It just looks really nice. It's hard to describe. I just love the look of it. I think it looks really, really appealing, and I just wish it was on the show at some point. Like, I wish they just used it on the show. It's a really, really nice prop. And it's just one of those ones that I don't think will ever surface in terms of, like, TV Doctor Who, unfortunately. But, you know, I really, really love it. In 4th place is the 10th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. I grew up with this one, and it is going to be one of these all-time iconic ones for me, but I can't pretend it's the best. It's really not my favourite, and I've got my own reasonings for that. But I really, really do like the 10th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. I love the things behind it. I love the fact that, I know it was never seen in the show, but the sort of black cap at the bottom was meant to come off, and then you could plug it into the TARDIS to like charge it or something. I love the elements and the little bits of thought that have went into it. I love the fact that you can extend it and lift it up, and kind of there's a sort of yellow chamber inside there. Well, it's a yellow, black, whatever incarnation you're looking at. I'm just holding the toy in front of me so I can kind of talk about it. That's the Day of the Doctor version. So yeah, I really like that idea of it, that it kind of detaches like some sort of claw function. I really like the fact, just everything about it is really, really nice. I love the bright blue light that comes off it. It's iconic to the 10th Doctor, the 9th Doctor, etc. It just works, and it looks really, really nice. It had a decent amount of time on TV. It was never overused, and it was never overdone. I think when Matt Smith got his, it was the perfect time to change it over, and I think it worked incredibly well. I think it was a really, really nice, small, but functional screwdriver design that I personally was a big fan of, and holds up mainly in nostalgia for me. It is very nice. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just a very sleek. It's like a sort of 007 thing again, like with that James Bond type of theme. It's like one of those ones you can tuck away in your pockets. It's very small, very compact, but a very nice screwdriver. Because from here on in, the sonic screwdrivers in the modern series got bigger and bigger until Geordie's. So yeah, we'll have to see about that. In third place, we have the 4th Doctor Sonic. Now, I've talked a lot in this video about, it's not as good as the 4th Doctor one. That's because the 4th Doctor one's so high up. I love the 4th Doctor Sonic, because this is the one that I consider to be the iconic classic series Sonic design. It is fully just metal, and it takes away all that complexity and the yellow spiral and the red and the black from the sort of Pertwee one, and it just simplifies it down. In the same model, but it simplifies it down to be a very basic looking colour, kind of colourless sort of tool. But it's very sleek, it's a very usable design, and I think it is iconic. And I know I spoke a lot about things being iconic back in the title sequence video. A lot of people took the mick out of that. So here we are again. This is iconic, and I will keep going on about how iconic it looks, because it's an iconic era of the show, it's an iconic Doctor, and it's an iconic title sequence, and my god, it's an iconic Sonic screwdriver, and I don't care who knows it. This is a brilliant Sonic, and I really do love it. I think it's definitely, well, it is my favourite classic Who design, and I am a massive fan of it. But yeah, big fan of this one. Definitely couldn't have it not at the top of this list. In second place, we have the 11th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. I really love the 11th Doctor Sonic. I think my only gripe with the 11th Doctor Sonic is that it was overused. I think it should have left at the same time as Smith. I think Capaldi should never have had this in Series 8, because to me, this is and will always be Matt Smith's incarnation Sonic Screwdriver. And I love that. I really do love that. I love Matt Smith's Sonic, and I think it is a very nice looking Sonic. It's very sleek, but it's also very big as well. It's full of different features. Obviously, the main body of it is kind of bronze and silver in colour, but the main function of this Sonic is the whole collapsibility of it. That you can have the collapsed mode, and it works as a Sonic in itself, but you can also extend it. And by extending it, you open the claws. It looks very nice. It is very scientific. It's like something out of Ghostbusters, as I would even say, like some sort of scientific contraption where the claws kind of help and triangulate the signal or something stupid like that. But I also love the flicking motion of it. In the actual prop, Matt Smith obviously flicked it open a lot, and it would flick open and you could have a read of it. And something I disliked about the 10th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver that I didn't actually touch on was the fact that there was no real way of reading it. The 10th Doctor instead would just stick it to his ear and then be able to listen to it and understand what's happening, whereas it makes much more sense to have a sort of visual chamber where the Doctor can actually see the sort of results of whatever scan they've just done. And there's no better way of doing that than having a little green box on the inside where the 11th Doctor could pretend to read from. It's very nice, it works incredibly well, and I think it's one of the more sleek designs, and definitely one of the better ones of the modern era. I think, unfortunately for me, it got a bit overused, and it shouldn't have been in Capaldi's first series. I think it put me off, even from the trailers. It just didn't really work. It was Matt Sonic, and I think he did the best with it. Capaldi deserves something that would suit his Doctor a lot more, something that wasn't too energetic, something that was very flashy, over the top, scientific, which he eventually got in the form of my number one slot, which is the 12th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me on this one, but I think this is, well, to me, this is my favourite Sonic Screwdriver design. I absolutely adore it. I think it is definitely my favourite. I wish there'd been some collapsibility function. I wish the top light would have collapsed down and be held in by the claws that are shown on the actual design of it. But, nevertheless, it is by far the biggest Sonic Screwdriver design. I believe it is as big as the Matt Smith one, when the Matt Smith one is open, which goes to show how big this actual design is. It's a big Sonic Screwdriver. The light function itself covers about, I would say, like a third of the actual Sonic itself, which is just absolutely nuts, but I love that. I love the different elements of this. I love the way it's come together. I love all the different parts of it. I love the fact that there's loads of bits of metal, either whether it's silver or gold or bronze or whatever. They've got two clamped claws on the side kind of holding it in place. And and the lovely blue running up the middle all the way to the top emphasises that lovely TARDIS blue design. What I really, really love about this as well is that it has 2 different modes. It's got 2 different colours on it. Well, technically 3, but the third one was never used. You've got green, blue, and the one that was never used was red, which was shown in an interview. The prop did light up red, it just never got used. It has scan modes, it has a chase function, and my favourite one is the chase function. It adds a new sound effect and a new kind of look to the Sonic where it kind of loops round like some sort of very, very sci-fi, classic looking sci-fi prop. And by far, I think that's definitely the best way to go. It doesn't look like something you could scan and read off, unfortunately, like mats. And I think mats does work as a better practical thing. But I think in terms of looks on screen, nothing was better for Peter Capaldi, but I don't think anything has been better for the Doctor than something that has very flashy and very over-the-top light. And I think the best use of it is, like, if you look in the pilot when he's kind of like scanning the Dalek, and the Dalek has to scan the screwdriver, and it's like, it's perfect. It just looks incredibly nice, and there's just something about this Sonic that just really, really makes me smile. I love it. I know it's not the most popular, but there's just something about it to me. It's really flashy and very blue, and just the colour and the look of it in general. There's just something about it. It is my absolute favourite design, and I just don't know what to say about it. To me, it is just absolutely perfect, and I just love that about it. But anyway, that is my list. That is what I think. That's just my opinion. Don't worry about it. You don't have to agree. But instead of disliking or leaving a nasty sort of comment, how about you tell me your list in the comments below? I'd love to hear them. That would be lovely. Thank you very much. So that's pretty much that for me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment below for any more suggestions in the future, whether it be another list ranking or anything along those lines. Make sure you leave your suggestions. But also tell me your lists as well. I've already mentioned that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're rapidly on the way to 9k now, which is very, very exciting for this channel. And I really, really do appreciate it to everyone who's subscribing recently. It's a bit of a nice boost after the new year, so that's really, really nice to see. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the Patreon page if you want to support the channel. Check out the Twitter and all that lovely stuff down below as well. And I'll see you all next time. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.